The temperature's rising, but so is the wind. Today we're going to be just a little bit controversial. We're going to have a discussion on organs. Should we eat them? Should we eat a bunch of them? Should we eat a little of them? Let's talk about that. Hello everyone, SemiRetiredBob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. As I said, today we're going to talk about organs. First, for those of you new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. In case you're wondering what's going on here, well, basically you're watching me walk. This doesn't seem super exciting until you realize that a little over 20 months ago I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Now I'm out here walking every day. And today is Wednesday, which means we have 1 week left of the No Excuses January Walking Challenge. No excuses regardless of the weather. I'm going to be out here walking every day. Lucky for me, it's up to 18 degrees today, but unlucky for me, the wind is blowing a lot harder than it has been. So the wind chill's still pretty good, but it is supposed to get just above freezing for the entire next week, so I might have a little bit easier weather to finish off this January walking challenge on. But anyway, why don't you help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 60 years old, and I'm now doing things that I couldn't do when I was 40, like out here walking, regardless of the weather, every day. Drop down in the comments and say, "Hi, Bob." Give me a little thumbs up there. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you consider doing that? All of these things are free and help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here as well. It means a lot to me that you choose to spend just a few moments of your day with me. But anyway, let's talk about organ meats for a minute. After I catch my breath coming up that hill to start the walk in this weather, that always takes just a little bit out of me, but I also believe it's very good for me. We all know Dr. Berry wants you to incorporate a little bit of organ meats, and I believe a little bit of organ meat is absolutely correct. Taking dried, desiccated organs to supplement your organs intake, I think that's a mistake. Now, if you like organ meat, wow, that wind's really cold. If you like organ meat, by all means have a little bit. But if you go back and watch my interview with Professor K, he is of the opinion that too much organ meat is contraindicated in the human diet. Primarily not because, the main thing everybody always wants to talk about is that one person who died of vitamin A toxicity because he ate a polar bear's liver. But his main concern is the copper toxicity. And he believes that's what has happened to a fairly famous YouTuber that was carnivore and is now no longer, because he eats a bunch of fruit and honey. And he believes a lot of his problems came from copper toxicity from all the liver he was pouring into his body. Like I said, a little bit of liver is probably good for us. But let's keep it in proportion. And when I say keep it in proportion, what am I talking about? What in the world are we talking about here, Bob? Well, keeping it in proportion. Think about it for a second. If you are a lone hunter, sorry guys, I'm going to have to cut this walk short and go back this way. Get that wind at my back. Wow, that was really painful. But that's okay, this is a short discussion today anyway. Let's say you're living by yourself, say out on a desert homestead in West Texas, which, by the way, is where I'll be hopefully at this time next year. And you have cows. And you decide it's time to have, to harvest a cow. Well, if you think about it, even if it's, how much does a cow's liver weigh? 4, 5, 6 pounds? Let's just say 10 pounds for the sake of this argument. If you've got a 10-pound liver versus, anywhere from 1,400 to 1,500 pounds of muscle meat with its associated fat. If you decided to eat a little bit of liver every day with your meal of whatever kind of steak you've managed to carve out of that cow, how much would that be? Well, it's not very much. Only a tiny little piece of liver to go with your large chunk of muscle meat with its associated fat. We hear a lot of people talking about nose to tail. And if you can use the entire animal nose to tail, that's great. If you've got some dogs to feed the entrails and organs to, by all means do that. If you're good with tanning and making crafty things, by all means take the hide and the hooves and make stuff for yourself, whether it be clothing or rugs or whatever. I believe very strongly in respecting the animal that gave its life for us. But you have to keep it in proportion. Again, how much liver is there compared to all of the muscle meat? And I believe that's the correct amount of liver. Now, if you don't like liver, that's one of the rules I like to keep track of on carnivore. If you don't like something, don't eat it. Trying to force yourself to eat something that you don't like just because it's supposedly good for you, well, how long are you going to be able to sustain that? I don't think very long. The sustainability is one of the key issues when adopting a carnivore lifestyle. I use the example of James at Ready Set Keto quite often. He admits that he does feel better when he eats a strict carnivore diet. But he knows himself and knows that he could not sustain that long term because he likes a little bit of edge here and there. And if you know yourself on what you can and cannot sustain, that's a really good place to start. So if you don't like organ meats, there's plenty of people out there in the N=1 experiment world within the carnivore diet that have been doing this for a really long time and never eat organ meats. There are some people that eat a little bit of organ meat and they do just fine. You know, they have a serving of liver once a week, once every other week, and I believe that's perfectly fine. But people that are intentionally eating a serving of liver every day, plus supplementing with, you know, liver supplements that basically pour more liver into their system, I think they end up having problems. And it could be because they have gotten too much of something, whatever it is that's so concentrated in the liver, is that it becomes toxic. Because as we all know, even too much water in our system can be toxic. Oh, it's not too bad out here when I get tucked in between my trailer and the house and get out of that wind. That wind is pretty brutal today. That was not a big walk today, but I think that satisfies no excuses January walking challenge. If I remember my distances right, because I went about halfway out to Center Street and back, that should be a half a mile or so, which is not fantastic. Maybe if the wind dies down later or it warms up another 10 degrees, I'll come back out and do another walk in a bit. But for now, that's what I've got for you today, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick little video and some of what I said made sense. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.